In this video, we are going to take up a program how to add the two numbers with a predefined variable. What is a predefined variable? The moment when I say a variable, the variable is the one which keeps on changing the value during the execution of the program. Suppose in a mathematics, suppose if I say x is equal to 10, what does it mean? X is the name of the variable and the value is assigned to that variable. Suppose if I say x is equal to 10, 10 is the value which is assigned to the variable x. Similarly here also, if I say num1 is equal to 10, means the value 10 is assigned to the variable num1. That means the value, the name which is on the left hand side becomes the variable and the value which is on the right hand side will going to become the value to the variable which is being assigned. Now how to write this program for this? Now we will take num1 is equal to 30. So num1 is what? Num1 is the name of the variable and equals, what is 30? 30 is the assignment. This is the assignment operator which is equals. 30 is the value which is assigned to the variable num1. Similarly, I will take num2, one more variable. Why I am taking the one more variable? Because we have addition of two numbers. If I want the two numbers to be added, then I have to have the two variables. And we want to have the predefined variable. What is the predefined? Num1 is equal to 30 and num2 is equal to 40. Then what I need to do? I need to add. So I will go for sum. Sum of what? Num1 plus num2. So that is what we got here. Sum is equal to num1 plus num2. So what is the value of num1? The num1 value is 30. So I will go to write 30 here. And num2, the value of num2 is 40. So you are going to get 40. So we are going to get the value of sum is equal to 70. This is what I want. This is the output. So what it does, it takes the value of num1 is equal to 30 and it takes the value of num2 is equal to 40. Then the addition of two numbers, colon, key within the quotes, comma. So one way of writing this is you need not have to write this function. You need not have to write this statement. Instead, we can do it directly by considering the addition of two numbers, say num1 and num2. The num1 will going to take 30 and num2 will going to take 40. This is because it is the predefined variable, so that's why we can be able to take it. Of course, even if it is a user-defined function, user-defined variable also, you can do that. Similarly, the addition of two numbers, colon, these are the two ways in which I will be able to write the output statement in this particular program. So, what is the output? The sum is equal to 70. So, output is the addition of two numbers. The addition of two numbers. Whatever it is there in the print function is going to be printed here. And we are calling the variable sum. What is the value of sum? Sum is equal to num1 plus num2, which is 30 plus 40, which becomes 70. So that means you are going to have num1 is equal to 30 plus 40, which is going to give 70. Similarly, the addition of two numbers is equal to 70 because this is the variable which I am using. The addition of two numbers we have to store in a particular variable. So which is the variable I am considering here? The variable what I am considering here is sum. So that is why it is equal to num1 plus num2. So this is how we will be able to execute the program. Now we are going to write the same thing by using the Python program. So I will say num1 equals 30 and num2 is equal to 40. Then I will say sum equals num1 plus num2. Okay. Sorry, num1 to num2. Then I want to print the addition of two numbers. The addition of two numbers. Backslash. Now what I can do is I will say num1 plus num2. This is one way of writing num2. Then I can write one more time, the addition of two numbers. Comma sum. So if you run this program, what happens? You will go to get 70 as the output. You can see here. You are going to get the addition of two numbers 70. Addition of two numbers is 70. Suppose if I don't want to use this, I am going to give a stop and see what it is going to happen. Still you will be able to get the output. Why? Because the addition of two numbers, num1 plus num2, you will going to get this. But here I am not able to get this because I am skipping this particular statement. So that is the reason why you are not getting that. So I am going to give a star mark here also. And you see what happens. So you are going to get num1 plus num2, the addition of two numbers is 70. This is one way of doing it. So even though we are not giving the expression here, but you are getting the output here because we are writing this in an expression itself. So that is the advantage. Suppose if I go for this, and I will not going to take this into the consideration. Now you see what happens. Still you will be able to get the output. So why? Because sum is equal to num1 plus num2. So what it does, I will go by step. So first it will take the value of num1 is equal to 30. You can take num2, it will go to take 40. Sum it calculates, sum is equal to 70. So the addition of two numbers is 70. So you call this expression here, so the sum will be 70. So you can see the addition of two numbers is 70. So this is how you will be able to execute this program. Now we will go for every time when you run this program, what happens? Every time you do that, you will going to get only 70 only. Why it is? Because it is a predefined variable. Since it is a predefined variable, what is the num1 value, num2 value, it becomes a constant. So that is the reason why when you are doing the execution of the program, the value of sum will not going to change, the value of num1 and num2 will not going to change. Suppose if I want to do it by using the user-defined function, so we'll go for that from the user-defined function. Program to add two numbers by using user-defined variables. So num1 will going to be, I will going to consider the float which is input, enter the first number, value of first number. So I will go to call num2 again float input, enter the values of enter the value of second number which is the second number. Why I am using this float? Because in Python what happens is whatever you give the input, it will always be considered as a string. But if it is a string, I cannot add, I cannot multiply, I cannot do the mathematical operations, is not possible. So I need to convert the string into either to be an integer or a float. So what is a float? The float is nothing but the number which has got a decimal point is called a float. So if it is a round number, it becomes an integer without decimal point. But normally, if I want to give 25.2, 25.3, if I do it, if I say integer, it will truncate the value of 0.3 or 0.4, whatever the digit which you are given after the decimal point, it will going to be truncated. So that is the reason why even if I want to have the accuracy of the values, so we go for a float function. So what I want, say for example, I will going to consider num1 is equal to 25.5 and num2 is equal to 35.5. So what is sum? Sum is equal to num1 plus num2. So sum is equal to num1 plus num2. So the number value is taken as 25.5 and num2 value is taken as 35.5. When you add together, the addition of two numbers sum will be equal to 61.0. So the addition of two numbers is equal to sum which is equal to 61.0. So the output will be the addition, enter the value of first number is 25.5 and I will going to take the second value as 35.5. So then the sum value, the addition of two numbers which is sum is equal to 25.5 plus 35.5, you will going to get 61.0. So there is one more format in which I can be able to write the sum value. For that, the addition of two numbers of percentage 0.2f and percentage 0.2f equals percentage 0.2f within quotes percent num1, num2 and sum. So this is how I will be able to write the execution of the print statement. So if you say the addition of percentage 0.2f, what it does, it takes the number of digits after the decimal point for the variable num1 and also the percentage 0.2f, that means the number of decimal point after the number of digits after the decimal point of num2, which is, because it is a float, so here we are using the float modifier, equals, what is the resultant? The float plus float is always be a float. So the sum will be equal to 61.000. So that is why you have percentage 0.2f, the number of digits after the decimal point within the quotes, then you say percent num1, num2 and sum. So this is how you will be able to execute the program. Now I want to analyze it, how I will be able to do it in the computer. So num1 I will say float input, enter the first number here, enter the first number. Then I have again float input, enter the value of number. Then you have sum. Then we have the addition of two numbers is sum. So we're going to take this. Okay. Then I have one more statement, print the addition of percentage 0.2f and percentage 0.2f equals percentage 0.2f. Then 0.2f, close the code. Then we have percent. Then I want to call the variable name num1, comma, num2, comma, then sum. So now we have the program. So now we're going to run it. I will say enter the first number. The first number is 25.5. And enter the second number 35.5. What is the result? The result should be 61.0. So see the difference between the two. In the first case, the number of digits after the decimal point is 0.1, the first one digit. So that is why you are getting 61.0. But the addition of two numbers, percentage 0.2f, why number of digits after the decimal point is 2, and percentage 0.2f again. The number of digits after the decimal point is 0.2. Similarly, percentage 0.2f, the number of digits after the decimal point will be 0.2 or 2 digits. So that is the reason why you are getting addition of two numbers. Even though it is 25.5, it will going to take it as 25.50, and then 35.5 is nothing but 35.50. So when you add up to these two, you're going to get 61, but we are going to get 61.00 because we are specified the format specifier as the number of digits what I want after the decimal point is 0.2. So that is the reason why you are getting like this. So this is how you will be able to write. But if I want to change this, so if I say 45.6 and I will say 25.8, so then what happens? The addition of two numbers is 71.40. So in the first case, what happened? It was 25.5 and 35.5. The same program when I run, again I will going to give 40.6 and 25.8. So you're going to get it as 17.1. $71.4. Similarly, the addition of 45.60 and 25.80, because it is percentage 0.2f. So that is the reason why you are getting the number of digits after the decimal point is 2. So this is how you will be able to execute the program when you are considering the fixed variable or without changing the variable, and also the user-defined function or user-defined variable. So this is how you will be able to execute the program. And how to analyze this we have already discussed. Thank you.